Good day, YouTube. It is the 6th of August, 2023. This is, some people might call this a kitchen Hoosier top. Hoosier is really a brand name of a kitchen cabinet. And it is currently sitting upside down. Yeah. And we picked this up the other day with a bunch of other antique furniture. Some years ago, my wife and I were part-time antique dealers, and we had a moving truck, and we had booths in Antique Mall and a Shabby Chic Mall here in our town. We did a lot of furniture refinishing, a lot of Shabby Chic type stuff, and it's our style. It's what we like as well. My father-in-law has a baker's cabinet. It is a cabinet that sits on the ground, and underneath, on one side it has a sugar bin, on the other side it has a flour bin, and it has a top for you to knead dough and make bread and make pastries and make stuff. In a kitchen, in the 1800s, cabinets weren't necessarily built in. They were a portable cabinet, and a baker's cabinet was something that got used every single day. A kitchen Hoosier, as some people call it, or a kitchen cabinet, would have possibly a smaller sugar bin, a smaller flour bin, even a flour sifter built in, some drawers and things for keeping utensils, a work surface to work on top of it, and this kitchen cabinet top. So this portion of it sits down on top of the base cabinet. This is the upper cabinet, and you can see, because this is upside down, it's got some hooks in there that somebody has added for hanging cups and things like that in it, coffee cups and such. This is probably right around 1900, 1920-ish, somewhere in there. There's no plywood in it. It's all wood. It's nothing special. It's just fur. This is not an oak cabinet or something. A kitchen Hoosier might be like an oak cabinet, and some of them had porcelain tops or metal tops of some sort. And we're going to get that base cabinet from my father-in-law. He's already gifted it to his daughter, my wife, and we stumbled upon this top, which will work perfectly for that base cabinet that we are obtaining. The question is what to do with it. Do you paint it? Do you do something with it? If it was oak, there would be no question about, from our perspective, that you would strip it and refinish it. This being more of a fir cabinet, that was a little bit controversial. I told my wife, I said, I would rather see us strip it and oil this cabinet, and then we would strip the paint off of this base cabinet that we are getting and oil that as well. This is going to end up, at least for now, in my wife's she shed that we have behind the house. But we're going to build a house truck, a gypsy wagon, if you will. And we're going to want cabinets like this in that gypsy wagon. And who knows, it might be this one. Or we might find one we like better. We might find one we like better in the house, and we'll put this in the gypsy wagon. We don't know. But will give us some options. Let's take the time now to strip this paint off. It appears to be just one layer of paint, and we'll get it sanded down and oil it up. That would allow us to do some other finish in the future, but it will preserve the cabinet, it'll make it look good. And when you're dealing with food and so forth like that, chipping paint, that's just not cool. So I want to paint off of it, so that means I volunteered to help strip this paint off of it. So what we're going to start with is this Clean Strip Premium Stripper. It's likely something I picked up at a yard sale. If you watched all my videos, I stripped the paint off the Yamaha golf cart with that stripper. It works really good. I know there are safer citrus strippers, and I've got some here somewhere. Yeah, like right here. But the stuff that's safer doesn't work as good either. So, not that we won't use it or just to use it up, but this is stuff that works, and that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to get started getting stripper put on this thing. we'll start scraping this paint off of here. Once we get like this hardware cleaned up, we'll probably pull the latch off. We may or may not pull the hinges off. I don't probably see a future in it. We'll get the paint off of them. We'll clean them up. You can just wire brush those. We'll leave them on. We're going to oil it anyway. Not going to mess them up. So, oh, this thing was missing a drawer. My wife's dad is fabricating us a replacement drawer. I went to the Habitat Restore here in town and found an old kitchen door that was actually wood, and I took it to him to use to make that drawer. Hopefully it's more period correct and will match. It wasn't as old as this cabinet, but you know, I wasn't going to go buy new wood because that you'd never match that. So let me get some stripper applied, and we'll see how long this project will take. Start off with, let's pull these cup holder hooks out of here. We may put them back, but you know, we're going to have to sand this down, and these would just be in the way of that. So let's get them out of there. Interesting green color inside. I hope it comes off well. Alright. Let me finish that. Okay. Don't get this stuff on your hands. You get enough garbage on your hands, it's going to possibly affect you one day. There's no way this little can's going to come anywhere near doing this whole cabinet. We'll be headed to the Lowe's Depot for a full can. We're just going to make sure it works well on whatever paint's on this thing. My guess this thing was painted in the 60s or something. Yeah. So, it's just a cheap chip brush, Harbor Freight, box full for $10 or something. And we're just going to keep spreading her on. Alright, hey, just a reminder, you know, keep all the doors open. I got a box fan running because, you know, the fumes and stuff, you don't want to breathe these things in all day. Some of the areas that the paint isn't lifting, you need to come back and hit them again. Don't waste your time peeling this paint off until you can do it all, right? So we're just going to go back through and hit the spots that the paint's not lifting. We're just going to try and make this efficient. My wife was testing out some spots yesterday with that other stripper. I didn't think it was going to work, and it didn't. I don't know why paint lifts in some areas and not in the other. Maybe we don't get the stripper on even enough or enough of it. But this side's actually looking pretty good. Okay. Now, it's an opportunity to use up some newspapers and such. In my case, I use paper towels because we don't get the newspaper, but we'll just start peeling this off. Peeling off the old paint. And we'll collect it on a paper towel or cardboard, or newspaper, or something. This may have a couple coats on it. I was thinking it just had one. If you think you can just whip this out 2 or 3 hours, you are mistaken. You haven't done many of these. It's a labor of love here. If you think you can make your money back and pay yourself anything for your time, you're also mistaken. Unless this was a really nice oak or mahogany cabinet or something, which it's not. So, if this thing was in pristine condition, in today's antique economy and such, you know, it's $300 maybe. And we're not going to make it that nice. But I do want the paint on. Gloves and safety glasses, people. Alright, so I'll continue scraping this stuff off. I'm going to check the other areas I put stripper on and reapply it where it's not lifting the paint yet. Try and make this as efficient as you can. And then I'll bring you back and we'll go for round 2 of stripper application. I'm going to have to go get some. I only had that partial quart on hand. We used to go through a lot of it. I'll buy a gallon. I think we bought like 5 pieces of furniture. I don't know why, but we did. So we'll probably have more to do. But it's coming off nicely, layer at a time. Alright, I'll bring you back later. Alright, so I've got the first layer all scraped off. And got a little more to do. So I've applied the second layer on both sides. I'm going to work a little less space. I got the fan going and it kind of dried out a little bit in places. I did these front pillars, so these are ready to scrape both sides. Again, just going to work a little smaller spaces. Where can I put you? Right over here. Alright. Let me back you up a little. Scraping away. I always think about the stories that these pieces could tell if they could talk. You know, when it was new and it went into a house, was there even electricity in that house? You know, was it a 2-room shack? What was that? This not being an oak, this would have been, you know, a more affordable cabinet back in the day. Maybe it was also, you know, some like a homesteader or something, you know, where they were so happy to be able to afford a new cabinet, right? Okay. My work continues. Alright, quick update. I have scraped off the second coat of stripper on the two sides. I got one coat here, one coat stripped off there. So I am draining the last of the stripper into my little cup. Again, one coat on the front, stripped off two on those sides. And I'm gonna go get a gallon of stripper. Hope they got some of that good stuff. And I'm gonna see about some sandpaper. We got some sanders at home, but I got these two sanders here. I'm gonna swing by Harbor Freight or something, see about some sandpaper for those. And yeah, something like that. We'll come back and we'll get after this thing some more. Be back in a bit. All right, that's 3 coats of stripper and peeling the old stuff off of there with a putty knife, and it's coming pretty good. My wife came by, we talked about the inside, and I don't mind that the inside is painted. It's kind of an interior look. She's going to look at colors and so forth, so I'll clean it up and sand it and get it ready, and we will paint the inside of this cabinet. My father-in-law stopped by and has made the missing drawer, again out of a door front that I got at the Habitat Restore, just so that it was, you know, older wood, hoping that the grain kind of matches. Again, we're not painting these, so that was awesome that he put that together for us. So I'm stripping the other 2 drawers, and hopefully we can make those match. You kind of got to let that stripper dry. I'm gonna leave the fan running tonight. And tomorrow we'll start sanding on this thing and see what happens. So I did stop by old Harbor Freight. Today was free stuff, so got some free gloves. I've never tried their gloves before. Let's try them out. I got some sandpaper. I got 120. I got some 80, some 120, and some 180. And then the parking lot sale's coming up, by the way. All right. So, oh yeah, the stripper, $53. Woohoo! Yeah, but you know, you gotta have it. So, and I use it for different things. So, okay, so I say she's looking good. It's mostly all further piece. Remember, this is upside down, so that piece up there might be like oak or something. I don't know, but I think it's gonna look good when it gets dry and then we get sanding and so forth. You know, and by the way, we're in Oregon, and this was made in Heppner, Oregon. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Yeah, yeah. Heppner, Oregon. Case something company, Heppner, Oregon. Also says that on the back of the cabinet. Somewhere. It's upside down, but there it is. So that's kind of cool. It has connection right here in Oregon. So I'm pretty happy with the result. I didn't get a very early start, and I'm, you know, far from finished. Told you guys, you know, you can't whip something like this out in a couple of hours. It's a kind of a labor of love, and if you were hoping to make money stripping and furniture and so forth, well, as long as you don't think your time's worth anything, it's probably okay. Tomorrow I got these strips that are loose in here, and I wanted to wait to put a drawer in to see what they actually did. They just hold the drawer side to side, so I'm gonna stick some glue in there, put a clamp on them, put a couple screws in each one of those because they're all kind of fall in there. I did put some glue in here, and I did put a screw through on each side. I don't like to have to look at the screw, but that's what's going to keep this cabinet solid. So did what we have to do. The latch is cleaned up pretty good, nice and rustic looking, so I'm happy with that. We'll get this all done, we'll oil it up, and we'll get some glass cut for it. Gosh, it'll be cool. I think it'll be cool. And then we'll get the bottom for this cabinet, and we'll do that as well. All right, guys, we'll catch you tomorrow. All right, guys, it's the next day. It kind of dried all out overnight. We'll start sanding. Let's see what it looks like a little bit. I got a couple sanders set up. This one's got 80 grit in it. The other one's got 180 grit in it. And let's just take a sample and see what it's going to look like here. If I can know how to turn these on. Well, it's sure dark. I'm gonna grab some oil because I intend just to oil this, and I don't want to sand all the grain off of it, and I also don't want to be here all week doing it. So we're gonna have to do a little experimenting there a little bit, I guess. We might have to go with a dark stain if we're not going to just overwork that wood. So I'm going to play with it a little bit so I know how to proceed, and I'll bring you back when I make decisions on what this is going to be. But I did a little playing around, with some stain on this side and with just oil on this side. So we're going to have to stain it to get these lighter colors to blend a little better, and I'm going to back off on sanding these this far, quit doing this, and just sand the finish and the sealer off if possible. So it tells me a little bit about what we're doing, how I'm going to proceed, because I know now how I'm going to finish it. So got a lot of sanding to do, so I'll get with it and I'll show you progress later on today. Hopefully this stuff comes out. That's a little different wood there too, so I'm not sure how that's gonna look, but it'll be fine. It'll all be fine. All right, let's get after it. All right, guys, I have sanded all I am going to sand on this thing. I tried to sand a lot of that darkness off, believe it or not. It would just take a crazy amount of time. It's already about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been sanding on it all day. My cheap sanders have lasted fine. I don't know what even they are. I guess one's a DeWalt, one's a red one. I don't know what kind. Been back for a little more sandpaper. We've been using the Hercules brand from Harbor Freight, and it does pretty good. There's some nail heads here and there that have tore a few sheets, but that would tear any paper. And the the stripper kind of gums up a little bit. But remember, we did a little test over here, so I know kind of what it's going to look like. We're going to stain it dark, then we're going to oil it. That is the way. So I went ahead and sanded the top all the way down because it wasn't stained, but it will be. Hopefully we'll be able to match it up. The front, I worked on it a little bit harder. Hopefully it doesn't come out as blotchy as it is, because some areas of this thing would just have to sand holes in it to get the dark color off of it. But again, the test pattern we did says it'll work good. So let's start putting some stain on it. I'm going to use, where it is, lost it. It's an early American finish. I've used this before. This is what I used for tests. It's just a smaller can of the same. So I'll dump this in together, and let's get to staining, shall we? Toss away. Full can. All right, you guys want to be over here? There you go. Okay. I will continue the process. There we go. All right, so stain's going on. We got a coat and a half, I guess you'd say. And I'm just going around and hitting the spots that are light or dry or whatever. I still got to pick it up and do this bottom piece down there underneath. I'm not laying on the floor to do that. We'll get it picked up, do that tomorrow. Perfect? No, real good though. I'm happy with it. I think my wife will be happy with it. She was trying to fight me on the old get the paint off of it and do this thing, so that's why I did this myself. So I'm gonna wipe some of that stain off the top, see what it looks like. I shouldn't have slivers. I sanded that. Ouch. So slowly. There's another one. Itty bitty slivers. Alright. Well, Alright guys, I've had a few interruptions and some other things that's happening, so it's fast forward a week or two probably. And I've got 2 coats of the Varathane on it, polyurethane on it. That's what I'm using to give this thing a gloss finish. I'm going to sand this down. I got a couple runs in it that I got to sand out, and we'll sand it down and we'll give it a final coat. There's going to be more to the story, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. And I'll bring you back because this video is getting really long, and I'll give you just a little hint. So the base cabinet that we were going to use is my wife's dad's house, and he said that she could have it. And but we are avid yard sailors, and I'll just give you a hint. We found another base cabinet. It's actually oak, like a more of a Hoosier style, with a porcelain top that she wanted more than she wanted the one that her dad had, and so we bought that one. So we got some stuff coming to marry the two together, and she's kind of cleaning that one up and such. It is pretty cool. It's gonna look fine even though this isn't oak and the other one is. So I'm gonna finish this in another video. We'll get some glass in it, and then we'll marry the two together on the other video in her she shed. So all right guys, so thanks for watching. I appreciate all the comments. Thumbs up on the way out, please, and we'll catch you guys on part 2 of this video and other videos coming up. All right, we'll catch you later.